My parents think I'm the strange one, because I work on wind turbines instead of fitting in. Now they want me to give my sister my mountain cabin forever. I, 27M, need to get this out because I've been sitting alone in my cabin for 3 days trying to understand how I became so disposable to my own family. I'm a wind turbine technician. That means I climb 300-foot towers in the middle of nowhere, maintaining the equipment that generates clean electricity for roughly 8,000 homes per turbine. I work in extreme weather, at extreme heights, troubleshooting systems most people don't even know exist. When I'm up there, hanging in my harness while the nacelle hums beneath me, I'm part of something that matters. I'm keeping the lights on for entire communities. But to my family, I'm the strange one. My sister Kaylee, 23F, works as a receptionist at a dental office. She answers phones, schedules appointments, and according to my parents, fits in everywhere. She's social. She's bubbly. She went to parties in high school while I was rebuilding motorcycle engines in the garage. She posts Instagram stories of brunch with her friends, while I post nothing because I'm usually 280 feet in the air or driving to remote wind farms at 4 a.m. Our parents, David, 55M, and Helen, 53F, have always made the comparison clear. Not always with words, sometimes just with the way they'd look at me when I'd rather read technical manuals than go to family barbecues. The way they'd sigh when I announced I was going into renewable energy instead of something normal. The way they'd light up when Kaylee walked into a room and barely acknowledge when I did. 3 years ago, I bought a cabin. It's small, 2 bedrooms, a deck overlooking a valley, surrounded by pine trees at about 6,500 feet elevation. I found it foreclosed, spent 2 years of savings on the down payment, and another year doing renovations myself. New plumbing. New electrical. Built the deck with my own hands. It's the only place I've ever felt completely at peace. My parents have visited exactly once. They stayed 4 hours, complained about the drive, and left. Last month, Kaylee got engaged to her boyfriend Marcus, 26M. I was happy for her. Genuinely. I sent a congratulations text and meant it. Then came the call from my mother. "We've been thinking," Helen said, in that voice she uses when she's already decided something and is just informing me. "Kaylee's wedding would be absolutely perfect at your cabin. The views, the deck, the whole rustic aesthetic, it's exactly what she wants." I paused. Okay. When's she thinking? I can probably make a weekend work. Well, that's the thing. My mother's voice got that careful tone. She'd need it for the whole wedding week. Setup, the ceremony, the reception, everything. And we were thinking, wouldn't it be nice if she could use it for anniversary trips too? Forever, really. As a gift from you. I actually laughed. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. "You're up there alone anyway," she continued. "Kaylee and Marcus would actually use it. They'd bring friends, have gatherings. It would finally be what a cabin should be, full of people. Full of life. Full of people. Full of life. As opposed to what it is now, occupied by me. The strange one. The one who apparently doesn't count as people or life. Mom, I'm not giving away my cabin." The temperature of the conversation dropped about 40 degrees. "I don't think you understand," she said slowly. "This would mean so much to your sister. To all of us. You're always talking about how you don't need things, how you're happy with simple. Well, this is your chance to prove it. Give something to someone who would actually appreciate it. Actually appreciate it. As if the 2 years of renovation work meant nothing. As if the mortgage payments I make every month are irrelevant. As if my peace, my sanctuary, my one place in the world is just an empty vessel waiting to be filled by someone more deserving." I said no. Firmly. The call ended badly. Since then, I've received 6 texts from my father about family unity and not being selfish. Oh, a voicemail from Kaylee crying about how I'm ruining her dream wedding. Oh, an email, an actual formal email, from my mother outlining why the cabin makes more sense in Kaylee's hands and suggesting we discuss a fair transfer. They don't want to rent it. They don't want to borrow it. They want me to give it to her. Forever. And the worst part? There's a small, exhausted part of me that keeps whispering, maybe they're right. Maybe you are strange. Maybe you don't deserve to have something this nice when you barely use it the way normal people would. But I built that deck. I replaced those pipes. I wake up there to fog rolling through the valley and feel, for the first time in my life, like I belong somewhere. I maintain the turbines that power thousands of homes. I keep renewable energy flowing to communities who'll never know my name. And my own family treats me like I'm disposable. Am I wrong for refusing? Am I being selfish? Edit. I'm overwhelmed by the responses. I didn't expect anyone to read this, let alone care. I have to work a double shift tomorrow. We've got 3 turbines showing fault codes after last week's storm, but I'll try to respond when I can. Thank you for making me feel less alone. Update 1. My crew leader shared his story. I think I finally understand what's been happening. It's been 12 days since my original post. I want to thank everyone who responded. I read every comment during my breaks, and some of them broke something loose in me that I didn't know was stuck. A lot of you mentioned the term scapegoat. I'd heard it before but never really understood what it meant until I started reading about family dynamics and narcissistic systems. Suddenly, 30 years of my life started making a terrible kind of sense. But the real turning point came from an unexpected source, my crew leader, Dale, 52M. I've worked with Dale for 4 years. He's the kind of guy who doesn't say much, but when he talks, you listen. He's been climbing turbines for 23 years, trained half the techs in our region, and has forgotten more about wind energy than most people will ever learn. We respect him, but he keeps his personal life private. We were up on Turbine 7 last week, one of the ones that got hit by the storm. I was in the nacelle running diagnostics while Dale checked the pitch system on the blades. It was a calm day, the kind where you can see 50 miles in every direction and feel small in the best possible way. During our break, sitting on the platform with our legs dangling over nothing, Dale said something I didn't expect. "You've been quiet lately. More than usual." I almost brushed it off, but something in his tone made me stop. "Family stuff," I said finally. "They want my cabin. For my sister." Dale nodded slowly, not looking at me, just staring out at the wind farm stretching across the hills. "They want you to give it to her? Not let her use it, give it." "Yeah." He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "You know why I got into this work?" I shook my head. "Because when I was 22, my parents told me I had to give my car to my brother. The car I'd bought myself, working construction. They said he needed it more because he was going to college, and I was just doing manual labor. Didn't matter that I'd saved for 2 years. Didn't matter that I needed it to get to job sites. My brother was the golden child. I was the problem." I felt my chest tighten. "What did you do?" I said no. Dale finally looked at me. "First time in my life. And you know what happened? They stopped talking to me. Told the whole family I was ungrateful, selfish, thought I was better than everyone. My brother got a car anyway, they bought him one. Brand new. But I was the villain for not handing over what I'd earned." "How long did they stop talking to you?" 8 years. He said it matter-of-factly. "Then my dad got sick, and suddenly they needed someone who knew how to handle things. Practical things. But by then, I'd built a life without them. I'd learned something important." "What?" "That their love was conditional on my usefulness. Not on me being me. And once I accepted that, I stopped trying to earn something that was never really on the table." We sat there for a while, 2 guys on a platform 300 feet in the air, watching the blades spin on the turbines around us. "Here's what I know," Dale continued. "You didn't build that cabin for them. You built it because you needed something that was yours. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. Some families just need someone to look down on. Makes them feel better about themselves. And the person they pick, it's usually the one who sees through them. The one who won't play the game." Before we descended, Dale said one more thing. "You need to establish boundaries. Real ones. Not suggestions. Boundaries. And you need to accept that enforcing them might cost you. But I promise you, whatever it costs, it's cheaper than giving away pieces of yourself until there's nothing left." That night, I sat down and wrote out what I was willing to offer and what I wasn't. I thought about it for 3 days before I called my mother. The conversation was short. "I've thought about Kaylee's wedding," I said. "I'm willing to host the rehearsal dinner at my cabin. One evening. I'll handle the food, the setup, everything. That's my gift to her." Silence. "The rehearsal dinner." My mother's voice was flat. "That's it. That's my offer. The cabin isn't up for discussion beyond that. Do you understand what you're throwing away? Your sister's happiness? Your place in this family? I understand what I'm protecting. If that costs me my place in the family, then I'm not sure I had one to begin with." She hung up on me. Since then, my father has left 2 voicemails calling me cold and heartless. Kaylee sent a text saying I was always jealous of her and that this proves everything. My mother has apparently told extended family that I refuse to do anything at all for my sister's wedding. I won't lie, it hurts. Reading Kaylee's text hurt in a specific way, because part of me still hopes she's not as lost as our parents. She's younger. She's been their project. Maybe she doesn't fully see what they've made her into. But I'm holding the line. I went back to my cabin last weekend. Sat on the deck I built with my own hands. Watched the sunset turn the valley gold and pink. And I felt something I haven't felt in a long time. Peace. Mixed with grief, but peace underneath it. Dale was right. Some costs are cheaper than the alternative. I'll update again if anything changes. For now, I'm going to focus on my work, my space, and figuring out who I am when I'm not trying to earn love that was never really available. Update 2. Kaylee had a meltdown. Then something unexpected happened. It's been 3 weeks since my last update. A lot has happened, and I'm still processing it. After I established my boundary, one rehearsal dinner, nothing more, I expected either silence or continued hostility. What I got was more complicated. Kaylee called me. Not texted, called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. She was crying. Not the manipulative crying I'd heard in her voicemail before. This was different. Ragged. Uncontrolled. "How could you do this to me?" she kept saying. "You're my brother. You're supposed to support me. Mom and Dad said, they said you would come around. They said you just needed time. But you're not coming around. You're never coming around. Why do you hate me so much?" I let her go on for a while. Let her get it out. When she finally paused, I said something I'd been thinking about for days. "Kaylee, I don't hate you. I never have. But I need you to answer something honestly. Why do you think you're entitled to my cabin?" "Because," she stopped. "Because you don't even use it. Because you're always alone. Because Mom and Dad told you I don't really need it." Silence. "Kaylee, I spent 2 years renovating that place. I pay the mortgage every month. I built the deck. I drive 3 hours to get there after working 50-hour weeks. It's the only place I've ever felt like I belonged. Why does that matter less than what you want?" "It's not that it matters less, it's just," her voice cracked. "They said you wouldn't understand. That you're different. That you don't need things the way normal people do." "Different," I repeated. "Yeah. I've heard that my whole life. But here's what I figured out. I'm not different in a way that makes me worth less. I'm different in a way that makes them uncomfortable. Because I don't need their approval the way they need me to." She was crying again, but quieter now. "I don't know who I am without them," she whispered. "Is that crazy?" "No," I said. "It's exactly what they wanted." The call ended without resolution. But something had shifted. I could hear it. 2 days later, I got a call from Marcus. I'd only met Kaylee's fiancé a handful of times. He seemed decent, quiet, thoughtful, worked as an accountant. Not the kind of guy who'd demand a cabin he didn't own. "I hope this isn't overstepping," he said. "But Kaylee's been... she's not okay. And I'm starting to see some things I didn't see before." "What kind of things?" "The way your parents talk about you. The things they say when you're not there. I always thought, I don't know, I thought maybe you'd done something. Something that justified. But then I started paying attention. And it's not about anything you did. It's about who you are. Or who they've decided you are." I didn't say anything. I let him continue. "Kaylee had a meltdown. A real one. After she talked to you, she called your mom, and your mom said..." He paused. "She said you were always mentally unstable. That you're probably jealous because you'll never find anyone to love you. That Kaylee should just cut you out completely." That sounds about right. But Kaylee, I watched something break in her. Not break down. Break open. She got this look on her face and said, "That's not true. That's never been true. Why am I believing this?" I sat down. My hands were shaking. "What happened then?" I suggested therapy. Not couples therapy, individual. For her. To work through whatever's been happening her whole life. And she agreed. She found someone this week. Update 3. The therapist changed everything. It's been 6 weeks. I wanted to wait until I had something real to report. Kaylee started seeing a therapist named Dr. Reeves. I don't know the details of their sessions, that's not my business. But I know the results. 3 weeks into therapy, Kaylee called me again. Her voice was different. Steadier. Like she'd found ground under her feet for the first time. I've been weaponized against you, she said. My whole life. I didn't see it because I didn't want to see it. Because seeing it would mean everything I believed about our family was wrong. I didn't interrupt. Mom and Dad, they needed someone to be the problem. And they picked you. Maybe because you didn't fit their image. Maybe because you saw through them. I don't know. But they spent years making me believe you were dangerous, unstable, selfish. Every time you pulled away, they said it proved you didn't love us. They never mentioned that you pulled away because they were cruel to you. She started crying, but kept talking. I remember things now. Things I buried. Like the time you built me that bookshelf for my 10th birthday, and Mom made you take it out of my room because it didn't match. Or when you got that scholarship for the technical program, and Dad said it was a waste because trade school isn't real education. You were a kid. You were just a kid, and they treated you like I was in the way, I finished quietly. Yes. And I let them. I participated. I took their side because it felt safer. Because being the golden child meant I wouldn't end up like you. She sobbed. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We talked for 2 hours. She told me things Dr. Reeves had helped her unpack, patterns she'd never named, manipulations she'd never recognized. She told me how Marcus had been incredible, supporting her through every realization, never pushing but always present. And she told me about the wedding. I can't do it, she said. Not the way we planned. This huge, expensive production, it was never about me and Marcus. It was about showing off. Making Mom and Dad look good. I don't want that anymore. What do you want? Something small. Something real. Just people who actually love us. Update 4. She cancelled the wedding. Then she apologized in a way that mattered. 4 months since this all started. Here's where we landed. Kaylee cancelled the elaborate wedding their parents had been planning. The venue, the caterers, the 300 guests, all of it, gone. My parents lost significant deposits they'd put down, and the fallout was nuclear. My mother called Kaylee ungrateful and brainwashed. My father said Marcus had manipulated her away from her family. They tried calling me, assuming I was somehow behind it, but I didn't answer. There was nothing to say. Instead, Kaylee and Marcus planned a simple ceremony. 30 people. A small vineyard owned by Marcus's uncle. No wedding party, no extravagant decorations. Just them, their closest friends, and family who actually supported them. I was invited. Really invited, not as an afterthought or an obligation. The week before the wedding, Kaylee drove up to my cabin. 3 hours, just like I always drive. She came alone. We sat on the deck. My deck. The one I built. I wanted to apologize properly, she said. Not over the phone. In person. In the place I tried to take from you. I waited. I was horrible to you. 4 years. I believed every lie they told me, and worse than that, I added my own. I told myself you were cold because you never came to things. I never asked why you didn't come. I never wondered if maybe you'd stopped coming because no one made you feel welcome when you did. She looked out at the valley. The same view I've watched 1,000 times. When I started therapy, Dr. Reeves asked me to describe you. Not what Mom and Dad said about you, what I actually knew. And I realized I didn't know anything. I knew the version of you they created. The strange one. The difficult one. But I didn't know you. She turned to face me. You're not strange. You're just different from them. You like quiet. You like building things. You like work that means something. None of that is wrong. It's just not what they wanted, so they made it wrong. And I helped them. I felt something loosen in my chest. Something old and heavy that I'd been carrying since I was a teenager, trying to figure out why my family looked at me like I was a puzzle with missing pieces. I forgive you, I said. Not because what happened was okay. But because you're trying to change. That's more than they'll ever do. She cried. I didn't. But I felt the grief move through me, cleaner than it had been before. Before she left, she asked if the offer still stood. The rehearsal dinner. We're not doing a rehearsal dinner, she said. But would you come? To the wedding? And maybe, could I bring Marcus up here sometime? Just to see it. Not to take it. Just to understand why it matters to you. Yeah, I said. I'd like that. Final update. Building something new. The wedding was 2 weeks ago. It was beautiful. 30 people under a wooden arbor wrapped in wildflowers. Kaylee in a simple white dress she found at a consignment shop. Marcus crying when he saw her walk up the aisle. Vows they wrote themselves, about building a life that was honest even when honesty was hard. I stood in the back at first, not sure where I belonged. But Kaylee found me before the ceremony and asked me to sit in the front row. "You're my brother," she said. "You should be where I can see you." Our parents weren't there. They'd called it a slap in the face and refused to attend. Part of me felt a strange grief about that, not for who they are, but for who they could have been. After the ceremony, during the small reception, Kaylee gave a speech. She thanked Marcus, thanked his family, thanked her friends. Then she looked at me. "And I want to thank my brother," she said, "for holding a boundary when it would have been easier to give in. For not giving up on me even when I gave him every reason to. And for showing me that sometimes the strange one is just the one who refuses to disappear." People clapped. I didn't know what to do with my hands. Last weekend, Kaylee and Marcus drove up to the cabin. They stayed overnight in the guest room, the first guests I've ever had. We hiked to the ridge where you can see 3 counties. We made dinner together, something I've never done with family. We sat on the deck and talked until the stars came out. "I get it now," Kaylee said, looking at the valley. "Why you needed this place." "Why?" "Because it's quiet enough to hear yourself think. And for a long time, I bet the only voice you heard was theirs, telling you who you were. Up here, you could finally hear your own voice." She was right. I still climb turbines. Still spend my days 300 feet in the air, keeping the lights on for people I'll never meet. Dale told me last week that he's proud of me, not for the work, but for holding the line. For choosing myself when no one else would. Kaylee and I text now. Not constantly. We're both learning how to be siblings without the distortion of our parents' lens. But it's real. We're building something that didn't exist before. Not the relationship we should have had, but the relationship we're choosing to create. Our parents have tried reaching out twice. Once to tell me I'd turned Kaylee against them. Once to ask if I'd reconsider being part of the family again. I didn't respond. There's nothing to say. The family I have now is smaller. It's my crew at work, who show up every day and trust each other with their lives. It's Dale, who shares his coffee and his hard-won wisdom. It's Kaylee and Marcus, who are learning to love without conditions. And it's the valley outside my window. The deck I built with my own hands. The silence that finally feels like peace instead of loneliness. I'm not the strange one anymore. I'm just me. And that's enough. Final edit. For everyone who reached out, commented, or shared their own stories, thank you. I started this post feeling disposable. I'm ending it feeling like I was never disposable at all. I was just in a family that couldn't see my worth. Some of you asked about the wind turbines, so I'll leave you with this. Every blade rotation generates enough power to run a home for a day. There are days I climb up there feeling invisible, and then I look out at the landscape and remember that what I do matters, even if no one sees me do it. Maybe that's the lesson. Worth isn't about being seen. It's about what you build, what you maintain, what you protect, even when no one's watching. Take care of yourselves. And if you're the strange one in your family, know this. Sometimes strange just means you didn't fit their mold. That's not a flaw. That's freedom.